Hello everybody, the Good here. Today I'm going to show you how to solve the Skewb. So this method is basically Sarah Strong's method with a couple of modified algorithms that I came up with. And I just organized stuff so to make it seem a little bit easier than her method. And I actually created a cheat sheet, which there's a link right there in the description. You can get the Google Doc and print this out. And I tried to make this so if somebody didn't see this tutorial, they could use this mostly for some of the parts of the solve, although it is a little bit weird. But I've been sure to make it so that if you have seen this tutorial, it will work for you. However, since it's hard to explain stuff in words like this and not on a video, I do use a different way of like naming certain things and like recognizing certain things, so it's going to be a little bit different. So before you get started on this cube, I recommend you know at least how to solve a 3x3 because there'll be a lot of concepts that are kind of go with this. And as for notation, the only things that you're going to need to know are R and L, and in my method I'm just going to use this is R and this is L. So for this method there's actually only two algorithms. One of them is called the sledgehammer, which is like this, R prime, L, R, L prime, sledgehammer, and the other one is called the hedge slammer. I didn't name these, but yeah, that's what they're called. And so that one is just the opposite of that, which is L, R prime, L prime, R. So sledgehammer and hedge slammer. And on my sheet, you see it shows them right there. And while I'm showing the algorithms down here, I just refer to them as SH for sledgehammer and HS for hedge slammer. So let's get started. Actually, for the first part of the tutorial, it's pretty intuitive, so there's nothing on the cheat sheet about it. Okay, so we will start with the first layer. So we're going to build around this white piece, and I recommend doing white first. Just as you're learning how to do it, you can become color neutral later. But anyway, what you're going to do is, if there's already a piece there, you'll just use that and build off of that. And you need to make sure that you do not break the pieces that you already have when you're putting the new ones in, obviously. And so the easiest case that you'll get is, you see I need a white and orange piece, so in this case it just happens to be green, because green is opposite blue, but you don't really need to know that. But anyway, you see this piece is actually the best case that you can get, because you can simply move it up, and you see this move does not affect any pieces on the top layer besides the piece that you're trying to get in, and so you can do that without messing anything up. And then you see this piece, you can move it right in. And then this piece is a little different, because you see here, if you move it in, it actually will be rotated incorrectly. And so what we're going to do is, normally we could just rotate it correctly in its place, like that, and then move it up. But because there's actually a piece here, and rotating it like that messes it up, you're actually going to have to do an extra move at the end, so you actually can just turn it like that, then you move that up to the top, but then you have to move this piece back into place, just like that. That's also the same if you see the white centers here and the pieces on the bottom, and so you see I want to get it up to here, and so we can turn it and then bring it up to the top. The only problem with those types of moves is if you have one on the bottom, and you see normally we would just do a move like that and then bring it up, but it actually messed up that piece right there. And so what we're going to have to do is we actually bring this piece over to here, and normally you would just do this if you're just a beginner, but actually you can have a shortcut and just turn it the opposite way, and that does exactly the same thing. But basically from here, you can just do that, and it'll bring it to the top. And also the last case that you can get is obviously the piece is already in its slot, in which case you just bring it down, and then rotate it, bring it back up, orient it correctly, and then bring that piece back up if you need to. When you're doing that first setup move to get it back to the bottom layer, make sure that you don't make it facing down, because you don't want that. So just make it facing like that, and then you can put it in. So yeah, that was just a pretty basic explanation of the bottom layer. It is pretty intuitive, just like the cross of the Rubik's Cube, and if you already know how to solve a Rubik's Cube, it should be pretty easy for you. Okay, so this is where things get a bit confusing, or just have quite a few cases. So for simplicity, I'm actually going to break these up into categories. This one category, this is another, another. And so we're just going to start with this one. This is just the most basic case. Okay, so you'll know if you have this first case, if first of all there's nothing on the top, so no yellow pieces, that's what I mean by that. And where the yellow piece is, the main centerpiece, there's one yellow piece next to it. And that means you have the first case, which is the easiest. So if it's on the left, you do the sledgehammer, like here. And if it's on the right, you do the hedge slammer. And so the way I like to memorize this is just like, you see there's like an edge, a more defined edge along here because there's a yellow piece right there. And there's not much of an edge along here because there's not as much yellow on this side. It's kind of a weird way of remembering it, but I know I have to turn it along this edge like that because there's more of an edge along here. And so that's the first move, and then that's just doing a sledgehammer. And then obviously if you have it on the right and you have to do the hedge slammer, it's more of an edge along here, and so you like turn it along that edge. And you see it'll get all yellow on the top, which is, by the way, the goal of this step. I forgot to mention that. Okay, so the next step is a bit more complicated. You can memorize all the cases for this, which is what I don't like to do. I like just having an intuitive, well, kind of intuitive, like, I see if this piece is right here, then we do this, and if this piece is right here, so since this is like this and this is like this, we'll do this and then do this. And so basically, this case is where you have two yellow pieces on top that are opposite, and then you have two yellow pieces on the sides that are facing inwards. So while I'm going to show you how to recognize this case, I'm just going to always hold it like this. So when you see you have this case, hold it like this, with the two yellow pieces in the front and back, and the yellow pieces like facing towards you, like that. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to figure out which angle you're going to execute the algorithm at. And so you see with the pieces like this, you're either going to execute the algorithm at this spot or at this spot. And if you have it at this spot, you can either do sledgehammer or hedge slammer. And if you have it at this spot, you can either do hedge slammer or sledgehammer. And so that's what makes up the four cases. And so first of all, just figure out where to execute it from. Basically, my thought process is, if the center is on the front, then do it on the opposite piece on the front. So you see these two pieces are the front, and so if it's on the right, execute it on the left like this. And if it were to be on the left, we would execute it on the right like this. Then if the centerpiece is on one of the back pieces, if it's on the right, if it's on the back right, you do it on the right. If it's on the back left, you do it on the left. And so basically, no matter what, you're not going to do the algorithm with the yellow right in front of you. And so now that you know which side to execute it from, you need to know which algorithm to do. And so the easy way to remember it is, let's say, here it is, and since the piece is right here, I'm executing it from this side. And this is the left side of the cube, so you see, split in half, this is the left side. And because it's the left side, we do the move, the slammer move thing that has the left move first, and so in this case it's the hedge slammer. And if we were to execute it from the right side of the cube like this, it would be the one that's right first, which is the sledgehammer. So basically, left side of the cube, hedge slammer, right side of the cube, sledgehammer. And so you see, if we do the hedge slammer from here, just like we learned, it will actually bring you to the first case, which we know how to solve already, just like that, and you'll have the layer solved. So here's another case with that. You see we orient it like this, and first we see the center is back here, and so since it's in the back, we do the one that's closest to it, so back left, we do it on the left, and so we execute it from here, and since it's on the left side of the cube, we do the hedge slammer again. There we go. And then we got the top layer. Okay, so now just one more case for this. You see we have these two pieces and these two facing forwards. And so since it's on the left, we do it, and on the front, we do it on the front right. And so since we're on the right side of the cube, we do the sledgehammer. Sledgehammer, and then we can simply line it up and do that. Okay, so now that we got some of those more complicated cases, now I'm going to show you the cases that you already have the center on top. Okay, so this is the first and simplest one. Basically, you have center on top and no edges oriented. And so it'll always look like this with two and then two on the sides. And so you're going to want to orient it so the two left pieces are facing left, and then the two right pieces are facing, respectively, front and back. So just like this. And so at this point, all you have to do is a sledgehammer, another sledgehammer, and it's solved. That's how easy it is. So the next one's actually a little bit different. It has the center oriented, of course, and then the two corners facing upwards, and the other two not. And so the easiest way to get this into position is to hold it so both of the centers are facing inwards, kind of like we did on the second case. And so facing inwards like that, and then just rotate it like that. So basically you have this piece facing forwards towards you, and this piece facing left. And so for this, the simplest algorithm to do is just hedge slammer, Y, and so that means just rotate the whole cube clockwise, and then sledgehammer, and then Y, or actually I already did a Y in the middle of the algorithm, but then another sledgehammer, just like that. Okay, so now for this one more case, I'm actually going to do this a little bit different from what I show on this one. But basically, this is if you have the two pieces right here, and the two pieces like right here, as I showed you before with the yellow on top. But in this one, there's no yellow on top. And so, there's either two cases. You can either have a yellow right here, or the yellow right here on the other side. Okay, and basically how I recognize this is if there's a small yellow, so just one yellow piece, or big yellow, and it'll be big if it has these three pieces together. So the way I remember is, this is kind of weird, but basically if you have small, you hold it in the back. Well, you hold it in the back with both of them, the center. And so if you have small, you do a hedge slammer, and then you rotate the whole cube clockwise, and then a hedge slammer, and then rotate it counterclockwise, another hedge slammer. And for the big one in the back, you basically do a sledgehammer, and then turn it like this, like you did before. But for this one, instead of doing a hedge slammer like we did before, we actually do another sledgehammer. Then rotate it again, and just do a sledgehammer. And so basically how I remember that is if there's big, so big in the back, then there's two sledgehammers, which are the better algorithm in my opinion. And so the two ones that go first, but if they're small, there's only one first. And so there, and then that was the only good one. And then there's two bad ones because it's smaller and not as good. I don't know if that made sense, but whatever. Okay, now that we've gotten that difficult step of the last layer figured out, now the only thing left is the last center. So you're actually going to orient it like this with the yellow and white on different sides. It doesn't matter which side it is. It actually depends on what case you have. But basically the most common case is you have one that's solved and the rest of them that aren't. And so what I like to do is hold it so the opposite colors are in the front. So you see here, orange and red are opposite, and it would be the same if it was like blue and green or just anything like that. But you hold the opposite colors in the front, and then you just do sledgehammer, Y2, sledgehammer, and it's solved. And so yeah, it would be the same basically like this. So it doesn't matter which colors are opposite. Now if every single one of them is opposite colors, what you're going to do is just do it from any side, the same algorithm, then line it up as you did before, and then do the algorithm that you did again, and it'll be solved. Now if all of them are misaligned and none of them are opposite colors, you do the same thing. Do it from any side that you want, then line it up, and do it again from the correct side. So there we go, you have successfully solved it and learned how to solve it. And if any of that didn't make sense, I recommend either looking at that cheat sheet and see if I explain it better on there, or going to Sarah Strong's page, which I'll have linked in the description, and hopefully she can explain it a little bit better. It's a little bit different format there. But yeah, that's basically all for this tutorial. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments below, or if you have any suggestions to improve my tutorials or anything. I know it's really not the best, but it works. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!